Picture a quiet neighborhood where elderly residents sometimes gather to exchange small talk and watch the day pass. Beneath the calm exterior, though, some older folks harbor deep-seated hurts and grievances that shape how they interact with family and friends. In the following list, we'll examine 11 types of seniors whose accumulated negativity has taken center stage, pushing others away and trapping them in a cycle of bitterness and regret. First type, the chronic complainer. Picture an older individual who has spent decades seeing the negative side of everything. In their youth, they may have faced real struggles, job losses, difficult relationships, health concerns. But rather than seeking solutions or support, they develop a habit of constant griping. Now, later in life, it's as though complaining has become their primary language. They nitpick about the weather, lament rising prices, accuse the Postal Service of deliberate delays, and find fault with family members for not visiting enough, or for visiting too often. Whenever someone attempts to suggest a more balanced view, the chronic complainer dismisses them as naive or tries to drown out their optimism with yet another list of grievances. Over time, friends and family retreat to preserve their own peace, which ironically adds more fuel to the complainer's fire. Why is everyone leaving me alone? See how unfair life is. This self-fulfilling cycle of negativity drives people away and confirms their grim outlook, ultimately reinforcing the same lonely reality they fear. Second type, the relentless grudge holder. This person can't let go of past injuries, no matter how small or distant in time. It might have been a forgotten birthday card 25 years ago, a harmless joke someone made at a family gathering, or a minor slight in the workplace that occurred decades earlier. Instead of giving themselves permission to heal and move forward, they keep that resentment alive, tending it like a garden of grievances. Every time there's a family reunion or neighborhood barbecue, the grudge holder finds a way to resurrect these ancient hurts, attempts to reason with them, perhaps suggesting that people change or that times have moved on, are ignored as they interpret any call for forgiveness as a denial of what they suffered. Younger relatives learn not to mention certain people's names or certain events, because even the smallest reminder can spark a full rehash of how wrong everything was. As the years pass, the grudge holder misses the chance to create new, happier memories, remaining fixed in the past. Others walk on eggshells around them, wary of accidentally triggering yet another reminder of old conflicts. Third type, the overbearing bully. Some older individuals cope with feelings of powerlessness by becoming controlling or hostile. Maybe they spent years in thankless jobs or relationships where they felt overlooked, and now, in retirement or old age, they view every interaction as a battle for dominance. They might snap at servers in restaurants, bark at their neighbors about property lines, or scold family members for not following the rules. When grandkids arrive, they shame them for how they dress or the music they like, using biting comments and raised voices to assert authority. If confronted, they claim they're simply stating facts or trying to help. In truth, this bullying approach only isolates them further. People avoid calling or visiting for fear of sparking another round of insults. Eventually, the overbearing bully is left with minimal social connections, and they interpret this isolation as more proof that the world is disrespectful, not seeing how their own aggression created the exact outcome they dreaded. Fourth type, the doomsayer. For this older person, every headline confirms that humanity is headed toward ruin. They might point to crime statistics, controversies in politics, or environmental issues as undeniable evidence that everything is going downhill. Any discussion about scientific breakthroughs, charitable efforts, or positive social changes gets dismissed as naive or propaganda. The doomsayer claims to be the lone voice of reason, seeing the harsh truth that others supposedly ignore. In family gatherings, their talk is peppered with warnings of impending disasters or moral decay, leaving everyone else anxious or depressed. Over time, relatives and friends may limit contact to avoid the unrelenting negativity. Paradoxically, the doomsayer often takes this as proof that no one listens to the truth, reinforcing their view that civilization is a lost cause. They fail to notice that their fatalistic attitude pushes away people who might otherwise offer comfort and new perspectives, or even solutions to shared concerns. Fifth type, the rigid traditionalist. While there's nothing wrong with cherishing memories or upholding cherished customs, the rigid traditionalist turns nostalgia into a barrier. They insist that any shift from their familiar ways is a sign of decline, whether it's new technology, evolving social norms, or changes in etiquette. They'll chastise younger relatives for spending time on smartphones or for adopting different career paths than what was common decades ago. They often romanticize the past, overlooking the struggles that also existed back then. Whenever someone tries to explain the benefits of modern medicine, social reforms, or more inclusive cultural values, the rigid traditionalist scoffs, declaring that things were better before. This attitude alienates those who want to share the positive aspects of current life. Over time, younger family members find it exhausting to justify modern realities, so they may stop discussing their personal lives around this person. The rigid traditionalist, consequently, feels misunderstood and left out, never recognizing how their refusal to adapt has built an invisible wall between them and a world still ripe with potential joys. Sixth type, the perpetually regretful. Some older individuals look back on life and see nothing but lost opportunities or mistakes. They may dwell on a career move they didn't make, a friendship they let dissolve, or a marriage they ended prematurely. Instead of using these memories to inspire personal growth or reconciliation, they sink into the conviction that it's too late to fix anything. They brush off invitations to socialize, believing they'd only cast a gloomy shadow on any gathering. Loved ones might encourage them to reach out to old friends or make amends with distant relatives, but the perpetually regretful responds that there's no point. As the years pass, relatives stop urging them to engage in anything, not wanting to trigger sadness or be rejected yet again. Locked away with their what-ifs, this older person misses a chance to build new memories or heal old wounds. They also don't see that their own withdrawal, not the world's lack of empathy, has amplified their sense of emptiness. Seventh type, the gossip and drama maker. Some seniors combat boredom or loneliness by manufacturing intrigues around them. They magnify any minor conflict, maybe a neighbor's slight annoyance or a relative's offhand comment, and broadcast it to others with a dramatic flair. If a grandchild faces a small setback in school, they spin it into a tragic downfall. If they suspect a neighbor might be struggling financially, they turn it into speculation about hidden scandals. Being the informant gives them a sense of importance, as everyone seems compelled to pay attention to their revelations. Yet this habit is profoundly damaging. Family members start holding back personal information, worried that private matters will become public gossip. Friends and neighbors avoid confiding in them, bracing for rumors to spread. Over time, the gossip and drama maker finds themselves excluded, which only compounds their feeling of being out of the loop, driving them to seek even more sensational rumors to confirm their suspicions that secrets abound everywhere. Eighth type, the self-saboteur. Life might have dealt this person a series of blows, health issues, job losses, or family struggles. But rather than seeking ways to bounce back, they've internalized the belief that nothing can ever improve. If someone suggests a light exercise class at the senior center, they insist it's pointless. If a loved one offers help applying for better financial support or medical care, they say it won't make any difference. This deep-rooted pessimism can be exhausting for caregivers who want to see them thrive. After repeated rejections, people stop offering new ideas, which the self-saboteur sees as confirmation that no one really cares and that they were right all along. Little do they realize they constructed a closed circle of hopelessness, fueling their own isolation. Their negative outlook becomes so ingrained that any bit of encouragement or optimism feels threatening because it challenges the comfortable certainty that things will always go wrong. Ninth type, the incessant critic. Although this pattern might overlap with the complainer, the incessant critic goes a step further by actively tearing down people's choices and accomplishments. They observe a granddaughter's new hairstyle and declare it unflattering. If a friend volunteers for a community event, they claim it's a waste of time. If a relative switches careers, they call it a short-sighted or foolish move. The incessant critic believes they're dispensing wisdom, but their remarks often lack empathy or context. When confronted, they might claim they're just being honest or telling it like it is. In social gatherings, people brace themselves for negativity, trying to preempt or avoid the critic's disapproval. Over time, friends and family see fewer reasons to engage, since every conversation becomes a minefield of judgmental commentary. The incessant critic can end up isolated, convinced that nobody appreciates their blunt insights, unaware that what they consider honesty is often perceived as relentless fault-finding. 10th type, the emotional blackmailer. A more manipulative brand of negativity emerges in those who leverage guilt or threats to ensure compliance from others. They might say, "If you don't come visit me every weekend, I'll stop taking my medication." Or, "If you marry that person, don't expect me at your wedding." The emotional blackmailer thrives on creating a sense of obligation or fear in those around them, extracting sympathy or obedience through psychological pressure. While this might secure short-term results, adult children rearranging schedules to placate them, it sours relationships in the long run. Resentment builds as family members feel coerced instead of genuinely wanted or loved. The older individual might believe they're holding everyone together, unaware they're poisoning the well of affection. Eventually, people either comply with bitterness or begin distancing themselves. Both outcomes confirm the emotional blackmailer's suspicion that no one truly cares about them, reinforcing the manipulative tactics that are, ironically, the root cause of their isolation. 11th type, the pessimistic minimalist. This older person may not overtly complain or argue, but they reject any new opportunity or source of joy as frivolous or doomed. They keep their life extremely pared down, rejecting new experiences or relationships because they're convinced it's too late to invest in anything meaningful. When loved ones propose social activities, they shrug it off with a cynical comment like, "Why bother? I'm too old for that." If a neighbor invites them to join a local choir or craft club, they dismiss it as a waste of time. This brand of negativity might appear mild compared to the bully or the blackmailer, but its consequences can be equally isolating. By expecting nothing and giving little, the pessimistic minimalist slowly fades from community life, building a bubble of solitude. Friends and relatives stop extending invitations, not wanting to face repeated rejection. Over time, this person might secretly yearn for companionship or excitement, but finds themselves cut off, stuck in a world of self-imposed scarcity. These examples reveal how unresolved negativity can intensify over time, overshadowing the chance for deep, meaningful connections. Yet there's still hope. Small acts of self-reflection, open dialogue, or professional support can disrupt the cycle and loosen the grip of bitterness. By tending to old wounds and remaining open to life's possibilities, later years can become a time for genuine closeness and renewal. While change may be difficult, it's rarely out of reach, and even tentative steps forward can lead to a kinder, more forgiving conclusion.